Alright guys, welcome back to our nerding out on Andaron Saga, just trying to go through and just really just obliterate any logical sense that goes on in this game and really showcase to you just how crazy I can get when I play video games to really just, showcase everything. So we're through chapter 19, our second playthrough. It's kind of important to mention that. We're just going to skip through to the actual screen here so I can show you units. Really just kind of walk you through where our units are at and kind of what makes a unit good, what makes a unit not so good. So obviously we have Jaka, our boy Jaka, and if you can see on this screen up in here behind us is actually my spreadsheet that I'm playing through. I go through literally every chapter. This particular chapter starts off with base stats for each hero, and then just continues with how much I'm adding to that base stat total every single chapter. Now, this can happen through one of two things: either promotion events, massive level up chapters where you're just designed to get big, like Bowdeman is in chapter 5, or chapter 13, where Jaka gets 11 HP just to start out with. Plus 7 HP at the end of the event for carrying Bowdeman. By the way, massive spoilers alert. I'm trying my best to not be hard spoiling, but at the same time, like, we're talking about character growth and development, so you are going to get spoiled. It's just part of the thing. Deal with it, chicken salad. Obviously, we see a huge spike in Jaka in chapter 15 when he gets his promotion. Huge spike, and he goes from to I'm him all of a sudden. Funny enough, so we did a video earlier through chapter 10, I believe, and now we're just 11. Obviously 12 is there, but none of the heroes stay in the party from 12, and you're only killing one enemy, so I didn't include that in the log. But Bowdeman did level up twice in that chapter, but at the same time, like, we don't count that toward anything, so I could have just put that in there. I just decided not to. Same with Mortimer. Mortimer also leveled up in that chapter, but again, neither of them stay in the party, so it's like there's no reason for me to even put that information on here. Funny story. At this point in the game, Jaka was just barely above Fred whenever he got that. Fred and Lillinette were my first two promotions, and you can see kind of, for a lot of the heroes, you can see a promotion happens because you're going to see that particular chapter just has a massive spike. That's usually a good sign that I promoted that unit in that chapter. So, for instance, Fred was my first unit that I actually promoted. I mean, outside Natalie. Natalie got promoted, I think, like right there. But yeah, not the same, because that promotion's only a 7 bump. Versus, the main promotions being huge. So it's funny though, because at this point in the game, through 19 chapters, Jaka is still number one in total stat points at 215, which 215 essentially is the way Fire Emblem works. There are caps, so you see they have these caps over here, and that's all important and all that jazz, but ultimately assume mentally that an average hero is going to have somewhere around 270 to 285 to 290 as a perfect hero as far as all their stats capped out. So when you're seeing Jaka right now at 215 after chapter 19, that's pretty huge. He's, very close to having perfect stats. As far in comparison to the total percentile, very close. I'm getting a little strength screwed right now, but it's okay. We'll make that shiz work. We go on to Jaheira. This is not any special order. This is just the random startup order. By the way, I haven't gotten anyone betrothed to Jaka yet, so deal with that. Betrothal bonus is nice, but it's so tricky to have heroes to pair with. Jaheira at this point, I haven't used her as much. Very important in the Helheim mission because of what flyers do in that mission in order to make Helga better and just help you out. Haven't promoted her yet because I'm trying to go to 2020. In all honesty, though, the way Andaron Saga works, there are eternal seeds which allow you to minus a hero's level, -5 later point in the game, and there are a decent number of those that show up. So, in all honesty, you can promote early, and that's not going to penalize you as much. So I may do that with Jaheira. I probably won't. I usually don't do that. It's just not how I play. You play Fire Emblem a certain way long enough, you're just not going to play that way. It's just not how I roll. And so Jaheira, she's currently at 123 in total stat points. I haven't used her in a few missions. So in all honesty, it's funny. The game gives you an option right before Chapter 16 to say, before Chapter 17, I believe. They say, hey, if you want to pass her off, and if you haven't trained her, you can send her away and she'll come back as a Wyvern Lord or whatever. And I should have probably taken that this time around. But I remembered the Helheim mission, and I really wanted to be able to use her in that. For whatever reason, she didn't get a level up in that one. I think part of it was I had her spawn in the wrong area, and she just wasn't as useful because the area that she spawned in was pretty much only summoning light magic dealers. Terrors that want to get hit by light magic, not get hit by physical attacks so much. Evil eyes and such, and so she really didn't get too much experience versus she was over in the section that I've had her in before. She would have gotten a lot, so it just kind of worked out bad for Jaheira. She's currently 23rd in the party in total stat points, but I know she's going to promote pretty quickly, especially going against Ashe in this mission. I probably will promote her during this battle. I think I'm just going to go ahead and have a Master Seal on her, and then she'll bump really quickly. I think she'll get like 20 or something points from bumping. Yeehaw. Helga, as long as you get the Gale Force ability, is a mother truckin' carry. It's funny because her base stat total, her total stats right now is 159. It's in a 3-way tie for 7th in my party right now, tied with Dawn and Harriet. And for those of you who are just looking at me like, who the heck is Harriet? We'll go over that in a second, and I'll explain why Harriet is so high up there. So, all through the Helheim arc, once you get Helga joins pretty solid. Right here, she joins pretty solid. No, she joins right there. Whatever. She joins right here in Helheim. So she hasn't actually grown that much, but she did gain the most important thing for her, which is this. If you are playing the Asmodeus mission and don't get Gale Force, just restart, because you've basically just made Helga not as good as she should be, and that's gonna be sad. You want Helga to have that. If you don't have her getting that, that's bad. Also, she has a 2 lead star, which is also equally important because lead stars, equal +1% hit and avoid for every hero on the map. So you want to have as many lead stars on the map as possible. Just makes it a little bit easier to be able to do your work. Helga, though, at 159, she's in a 3-way tie for 7th in the party, but she's actually better than her stats say. Dawn, if you take the Dawn Caller route, which is what I did this playthrough, you get Dawn. Dawn comes in, pow. She's actually one of the highest characters in overall carry score right now. She still is getting growth, but she's not getting. She's getting way more kills than she is growth. Whereas Jaka has grown 133 stat points since the playthrough started, but only gotten 83 kills. I don't know what's holding him back. It may just be my personal play style this time around. I don't know. But Dawn She has 159 right now, but she's also holding the Dawn Caller Blade, which is a plus 20, so she's actually 179. Homegirl is hardcore because the Dawn Caller is an unbreakable sword with 1-2 range. So, you know, yeehaw. Angelus. Angelus is kind of funny. He's only at 103 as far as total stat points. He's a dancer class. Well, a bard class, but you know what I'm saying. He's a singer. Angelus is kind of halfway important in certain missions. There are certain missions where it's very helpful to have a bard. In all honesty, the prison mission might have made it a little bit faster if I had him. Things like that. I can tell you this, I didn't use him in a lot of those maps. I have used him in some. However, the last map is, of course, the mission where you kill Skyla, basically the Gorgon map. And I will tell you, I abused the hell out of Angelus in order to buff out Harriet. I found, so Harriet, I finally, you know, when you get her in chapter 10, I don't really use her that much. I don't use her in 11 because of what 11 is as far as a map goes. I use her in 15 because 15 heroes with low movement speed work out better on the ship map, just because of you don't need to move around as much. So Harriet gets the pull. Harriet has extra ability. Let me just go to Harriet. Where is she? So there's Harriet. Harriet, she gets extra length for her staves. So she can use a heal staff from 2-3 range instead of just 1 range. Sorry, from 2 range, she can use a heal staff versus just 1 range. So it makes it to where she can heal people from a safer distance. She already actually comes in with moderately decent bases. And so 15, she gets really... It's easy to level her up because you just put Angelus right next to her, and then she operates twice per turn, which then allows Alanda to go and destroy and basically rip up all of the shaman in the bottom route. And then chapter 19, I spam the crap out of her with Angelus again, and she grows 36 points in that one chapter. She's at 159. That's why she's at 159. We promoted her in that chapter, which she gets a 16-point promotion bonus. But we had 20 points of growth on top of her promotion bonus. I mean, she got big on big. She got big on big. How you go big on big? I don't know, man. I'm being silly. So who did I skip through here? So Albert. So I did put a pet rock on Albert. Because I got lucky, first off, pretty early in this playthrough. Albert did pick up a all-important strength stat in the dungeon fights where you get like 5 levels on him. Albert is awesome because he is a sword master that also has staves, which makes it to where even if he falls off on damage ability, spoilers, he does, it doesn't matter as much because he still has the utility of being a staff user running around. So that makes Albert pretty freaking awesome. He's actually 5th in total stat points in my party right now. I'm kind of surprised. I kept expecting him to actually fall off. And while he has fallen off as far as kills, he's not really doing much kills. Total for the entire game right now, Albert's done 33 kills, but he's been slowing down quite a bit on the kills right here. When he joins, he gets 9 kills when he joins, 10 on map 15, which is the boat. So I just basically put him at the entrance of one of the pirate ships on the right hand side, the sword pirate ship, and the axe pirate ship, and just had him just wreck salad. He's been slowing down on kills, but there's still great utility use out of him. He's currently 5th in the party as far as total stat points. I'm lucky. I did get his strength up too. And when you have a sword master, it's amazing. When you have a character that has high speed, high skill, 1 to 2 points in strength really do make a huge difference. It's the funniest thing. Albert's been doing pretty good, though, for the party. Fred. So we were talking about Fred earlier. Fred, sadly, his ability really isn't that good. He does get a lead star, which I think helps out a lot because, anytime you can throw an extra unit in there that has a lead star, I think that's helpful because it's one of those subconscious benefits that the game has put into it that actually helps every hero in your party. His growth rates seem kind of generic, seem kind of like they're not going to be very special, but when you actually start leveling him up and you realize, holy cow, we have a good unit. And then when you promote him to Duke Knight, he gets a 21-point buff when you promote him to Duke Knight, which, certain units are just not getting that big of a buff. And so it was funny, going into the prison chapter, he was actually my lead player by a lot. He was actually so strong going into the prison chapter that he was actually able to do damage against the Steel Knights. So there were, I think, 2 Steel Knights where after like one round of Runesorn shenanigans or whatever with Albert, I actually just finished him off with Fred. And just so that way I could allow Albert to work on moving forward on the map. Fred, again, great movement, gives a lead star. He's still number 2 in stat points in my party. He's at 188 on stat points, which is second only to Jaka. Jaka's at 215. He's at 188. And the difference, of course, really being between the two of them is the items and events. I haven't used any items on Fred, and he doesn't get any event bonuses. This not the same way that like other heroes do. So he's doing pretty awesome. There's still just nothing special about him, though. He's just a good, solid filler unit for the party. Definitely doing a lot better than previous playthroughs. Coulter. Coulter, my assassin boy, at 140 right now. I did just promote him in the last mission, so he had a big chapter. We had 2 promotions in the last chapter. Coulter was one of them. Harriet was the other. And it's funny because he's 14th in the party as far as rank goes, but his movement, his abilities, and of course having the Peshkat's blade is what makes this thing a whole lot better. So you have the stilettos that you can run around with and get this good item, solid item. But if you get an A rank support with Thea, spoiler, if you get the A rank support with Thea, you get the Peshkat's blade, which really is what makes him work. Look at that crit rating. Look at that high damage, high crit. Really, really, really effective. And so it's kind of like his personal preferred weapon that allows him to really just get going and do some work. Work. Plus, of course, there's so many opportunities in Andaron Saga for you to steal extra items and extra buffs running on the map, like boots and yada yada. So very helpful to have Coulter doing good. I have gotten a lot of use out of him. Lillinette, my girl Lillinette, big titty baby, what's up? How you doing, girl? Hey, so first off, Demoiselle, great ability. Male allies within 2 tiles receive -2 damage. So if you have her next to somebody in the front lines, very helpful. But then really this. Now you get this by having an A rank support with Samuel. All right, remember that. You get an A rank support with Samuel, which Samuel dies. So once Samuel dies, or leaves the party, whatever you want to call it, she no longer has that support locked to her. So spam that. Get that support. There's 2 supports that I think are really important to do with Samuel. One is, of course, the B rank support with Theo, which allows Theodore to get the training lance and lance access early. And then the other one is the A support with Lilynette, because Lilynette's A support with Samuel allows her to get this ability to where when she heals somebody, she's healing themselves. She's healing herself also. Makes her way less of a liability. However, at this point in the game, once I promoted her, and I promoted her immediately after the prison chapter. And when I say immediately after, I mean like immediately after. She reached it, I think, during like the mid stages of the chapter, and I probably may have promoted her during the chapter itself, but just didn't put any attack items on her at that point, because you don't do that in that mission. That mission is not for attack items. So yeah, Lilynette is actually third in the party right now in terms of total stat points at 172. She maxed out her magic really quickly. She's got great movement, great resistance. I have put a Draco shield on her just to help balance out her defense issues, because she only has 11 defense. So that's been helpful. But I'm pretty pleased with the way that's worked out. This playthrough, she's literally been doing work. Since promoting her, she's picked up 17 kills, because again her magic stat is so high, and this happens to a lot of priests, a lot of troubadours. They get such a high magic stat, by the time when they actually can promote, you're like, man, I still need a healer, but they can do hard damage, because it's like, oh yeah, by the way, we've got a high stat. So if you promote them early, huge bonuses. Lilynette, solid hero, solid uses right now, very helpful. Got Big Bad Bjarki, the man who knew no sleep. That dialogue is hilarious. If you put the Jarl ability on him with his sturdy, dude, so he's somebody who gets some insane buffs in certain chapters just because of how that chapter works. So, I promoted him in chapter 16, so that way he was, ready to go for 17 in Helheim, and then, of course, 18 fighting for the Jarlship. He's fourth in total stat points. As a warrior, he can just do whatever he feels like doing, especially now that he has the Jarl ability, because it just allows him to just charge at homies, and when he's nearby them, they're going to be hit a whole lot higher percentage, even if he's not swinging very well. And now he's also somebody who, if you're fighting a boss, just throw him next to the boss. That way your other damage units can actually have a better chance of hitting with a lower percentage chance item. I got real lucky. I think I did put a speed wing on him. I've been laughing my ass off at how high his speed is this playthrough versus the last one. Last playthrough, I think I had him at like 13 speed and just could not get him to raise his speed at all. It just did not work. This time it's 19, so he's actually doubling a lot of things. It's pretty fun. I'm enjoying it. Jesse, the drug addict. If you get an A rank support with Natalie or John, his drug addiction is over. Definitely needing to work on that, because it's definitely hurting. I've pretty much only used flame swords with him, so I really haven't been raising his blade expertise, because it doesn't really work that way with flame swords. I did switch. I did take the weird mage deal with him in the prison chapter. He's currently sitting at 136, 16th in the party. Decent unit, not amazing. Estelle falls off super quickly unless you just want to devote time to her. So, chapter 6, when you're in the cave and they have the 5 eggs. That's the 5 eggs, or not the 5 eggs. There's like 7 eggs or whatever. There's eggs. There's 7 eggs. Those eggs are really kind of your personal opportunity to take one of the trash units in your roster and really buff them like 2 or 3 levels. And it's a personal choice. It really is. you have to make that choice of who are you buffing, right? I picked, on this playthrough, I picked Natalie to do it with just because I wanted to get her good. Even though I could throw her away and then she comes back later on as a hero without any work, I enjoy having her around. It's a lot more fun to raise a unit rather than get given a unit, in my opinion. Estelle, I have snuck her in a couple missions, so I snuck her. I treat her, she functions to me a lot like Harriet in that she works best in missions where you don't have to move around a lot. So I stuck her in the boat mission. She got a good buff there. And then I stuck her in chapter 19 just now, and she got a good buff there also. Sadly, she just didn't get good growth in this chapter. I think she actually gained more levels in that chapter than she did in the boat mission, but just got stuck with bad growth. Overall, though, not very useful. Not really worthwhile. Harriet, we already talked about her. Theodore. So Theodore, if you can tell by this ability over here, I did bring him to the last mission, which does give him an event bonus of +8, which is basically +1 in all stats, which is huge because he's a pre-promote unit, so he's not somebody who has some massive growth spike. He comes in really strong. He is strong at first. He does kind of fall off, but not really. I mean, he's still somebody who I can easily bring in the party. He's still ranked 10th in overall points, and he gets a lead star, so that's another bonus for bringing him. I have been trying to buff up his lance ability, so that way whenever he does get the rose thorn later, we can actually use it. But that's gonna take some more work. Solid stats around the board. Really bad luck though. Not getting any luck with him. Makes sense though. Homeboys, when you're unrequited, you don't get luck. Ariel. I know some people are going to shoot me for this, but I really have not I really have not used her very much. Ariel joins at 112, so I have buffed her 23 points over the course of several chapters. But some of you are probably going to shoot me because I literally haven't thrown her in more battles. It's like, why wouldn't you? She gets a lead star. You could literally just have a team with nothing but lead stars, and it'd be very, very hard for you to miss any hits whatsoever. And you're right. I probably should do that. I mean, whenever she's only 17th in the party, so she's not far, far down the list. And when you promote her, she gets a massive point total buff. So I probably should just play with her and do that. I'm probably going to play with her in this mission. I know I used her last time around in this mission. We're getting ready to go to the lava cave mission. So yeah, I probably will use her this mission. Probably will promote her in this mission too. I actually can see myself getting 3 promotions in this mission. Jaheira, Ariel, and then Shay is close. Well, Shay may happen. Probably won't though. She's pretty far back. Victoria. Last playthrough, I had her at a paladin very quickly because her ability to have every option, everything gives a brave sword effect is huge. But she's just meh. I don't know if I'm getting fudged by bad growth rates this playthrough and just didn't notice it first time. But she's literally 1 level behind Ariel, but she's 1 level behind Ariel right now, but she's 21 points behind her in stat total. Victoria's at 112, Ariel's at 133. 1 level difference. Not promotion in 1 level, 1 level. She's at 16, Ariel's at 17. But we have a 21 point difference. That should tell you all you need to know. Shay, I could have used Jaheira. I could have used Shay a whole lot. I just chose not to. I chose to use other heroes instead. Chose to have a little fun with Estelle. Chose to spam Harriet in the last mission, so I didn't use either of those two. Chose to use Angelus. So she's only behind because of my choices. She's actually not bad at all. She's really in a good spot and gets even better. Probably her and Jaheira both will get hugely big in this next mission or two, simply because of how these maps function. Jaheira's only at 123 right now. Shay's at 125, and Shay's actually several levels lower than Jaheira. So that should tell you all you need to know right there. All right, Garam. Garam, if I promoted him, which I may just use him in this mission just to promote him also. He's been doing just fine. He's at 126, 20th in the party. Just because of his really bad resistance, a lot of the time I'm just not going to use him when I know there's a high percentage of magic damage on the map. And so it may even be tough to use him in this map. I don't really know. I should be able to make work with him, though. He's been doing pretty well. He doesn't grow very much for whatever reason. I have 2 more kills than I have points grown with him. He's killed 28. He's only grown 26. And this kind of tells you, is this hero feeding, or are you feeding this character, or are they dominating? And so, like Theo's only grown 41 points, but he has 51 kills. Albert has 33 and 30 against 32. Helga has 25 kills against 14 growth points. So this is kind of telling you, is this character dominating, or are they a project? Now, nothing wrong with projects, but it's important to know if you're dealing with a project or a pimp, when you're dealing with a hero. And Garam isn't a project; he's a pimp, but he's a pimp that, in all honesty, you wish he could learn some resistance. And if I wasn't putting all of my talismans on Jaka, then I would have more to spare for Garam, but I don't. Sorry, Garam. Amelia has the awesome spell Ruin. She would be a lot of fun to use if I really put the investment into her. Again, so she kind of runs into the situation where you have Taya, you have Estelle, Natalie, and you have Amelia in the cave mission, the chapter 6, with the 7 eggs. And in all honesty, you can you can divide them up and give them to every single person, or you can just pimp them out on one person. Amelia, I bet if I had decided just to pimp them out on her, would have been really awesome. Or Estelle, same situation. Or Taya, probably better. I didn't on either of them. I put them on Natalie. Natalie's solid, though I haven't used her in a few maps because of just the way the maps work out. Amelia, though, has the spell Ruin, which gives like a 69%, no joke, 69% critical hit. It's pretty funny how that works. No joke. Even I think she knows it because her critical hit emoji is literally her laughing, and then she smacks it in your face. Solid stats for what she is and what her ability is and what her special signature spell is, but just I don't get much use out of her. Christina, only at 72 total points. I'm probably not going to use her at all. It's too much work to do the pre-promotes. Buggy is somebody who, before doing this, I thought he was decent, because you get distracted when you see that solid strength stat when he joins, and you see that solid HP at 40 when he joins. But Buggy only has 76 total points. Yeah, 76 total stat points when he joins. 40 of which are in HP. He has more stat points in HP than he has in all 7 of the other growable stats. That should tell you all you need to know. I have used him in a couple missions, most notably the prison mission, because that way he gives you a 3rd unlocking option, which honestly, I want to get everything in that mission, but I don't want to take 55 turns. However, he kind of becomes a liability later on due to his 5 movement speed. So it's one of those take him at your own risk in the prison mission, because nobody can carry him. Ralfnir. Ralfnir and Sigrid both join at the worst possible time. They join on a Fog of War map, and where Sigrid actually Sigrid, by the way, sucks Taco Bell because she joins at like level 6 of her own class, but only has 16 HP. Like if she joined as a pre-promote, it would have made more sense because of how bad her stats actually are. But I think that she's set up to be a Sophia type character where she's intentionally not supposed to be good. Rolfnir could be good, and he does have access to his own signature class if you actually do something with him. I've never gone that direction or route. It's just, again, too much work. He only has a one range axe when he joins. However, he does have the... If I had actually thought about it, I could have put a hand axe on him pretty early and probably gotten him out of journeyman into fighter or whatever class you wanted to put him in by the end of that first chapter when he joins. I didn't think about that because I didn't realize that he had D access in his skill class. I thought he had E, and so knowing that now, probably could have done that differently. So you got to put a hand axe on him right away in order to get him out of being crap mode. If you don't do that, he can't promote that mission, and if he can't promote that mission, it just gets harder and harder to use him. Bari is decent. She has an ability which unlocks extra critical hits. She's down at the bottom only because she just gets outclassed so hard by Bjarki. I mean, it'd be fun to use her more often and in a higher situation. And if I was doing an Iron Man run, I would have been forced to use her at some point, probably. But we're not doing an Iron Man run. We're doing a analysis run. And, Bari is I used her during the ship mission because, again, it's a mission where you're not really stuck using people that only have high movement speed. It's one of the few missions on this game where not having a bunch of movement speed isn't going to penalize you. So Bari got a nice growth bonus there, the same way that Estelle and Harriet did. It just sucks, though, how so many of the maps are just focused on movement bonuses that there's so few opportunities where you really can make her function. That's just kind of my critique of the game, I guess you could say. Sham. I got to get Sham back into the mix. Sham does have a pretty important chapter later in the late stages of the game. And last playthrough, I was pretty much where I was right here with him as far as total stats. However, I didn't use him again until that mission. I even tried force promote. I struggled because of a certain thing you're supposed to do during that mission. I couldn't do it because of how low his stats were. So then I tried to force promote him at base before we deployed, which bumps him another 20 points. Still couldn't do it. So I got to get him back in the rotation. There are some maps coming up where we can make use of him. So I will definitely be doing that. He's got a good kill totals. I mean, he's at 36 kills, which if we look at the kill totals, I mean, he's 8th in total kills right now across the entire playthrough. It's just that there's been so many maps recently where you don't benefit from bringing him because of movement situations. There's just a good number of maps where it's like you're penalized for bringing somebody with bad movement. And so, 15, you can use him. But, 13, the prison map, can't use him. 14, the chase mission where you're fighting a bunch of Hall of House Rows. Can't really use him, and you could, but you really don't want to. It's one of those. 15, you can use him because it's the ship mission where you're just staying in one place. 16, the charge mission where you go and protect the villages. You want high movement speed where you can take it. I do bring Barit and Bjarki just because of their connection to the area, and because Bjarki is important, and then 2 chapters later. And so you want to make sure he's buffed up as much as possible. But then, so again, Sham's penalized there and can't get used. 17 is Helheim. Again, you could use him. but there's just other heroes that function so much better in that map, and you still need people that can, deal out and take damage. I have burned quite a bit of Draco. I think I've burned 2 Draco shields on him. If you're wondering why his defense is so high, I think I've burned 2 Draco shields on him in order to make his defense way higher, simply because I know that I'm going to use him at a later point in the game. So I was kind of prepping him in advance. 18, kind of the same thing. I could have used him in 19, just put a fire tome on him and have him destroy all the spiders. Probably could have done that. In hindsight's 2020. Probably could have done that there. I didn't. Oh well. But yeah, he's at 121, 24th in the party. Haven't used him in a long time though. My girl Natalie. So yeah, I kept Natalie around. You can send her away, and she comes back as a hero. Been very solid. She's currently 11th in the party, and she's 11th in the party despite not having been fielded in a map since Chapter 15. I haven't fielded her in a map since Chapter 15, and she's still 11th in the party as far as total stat points. And you say, well, why haven't you fielded her? You could have had a hero by now. And you're right. I could have had a hero by now, which does fix slightly one of the issues I have with her right now, which is the fact that she's only at 5 movement speed. And that's kind of the only reason why I haven't fielded her in a while. So I may just take Chapter 20 and just use Chapter 20 to promote like 5 units at once. I think I did that last playthrough. I think I promoted Shay and Kurt and Ariel all on the same map. So like we could do that here too, and just see some big buffs happen. Pretty ambitious. If you can see though, literally no flaws in her growth. Nothing. There is no flaws in her growth. Defense is a little low, but when we turn her into a hero, that'll fix it itself. And dude, great hero. Great character. Elmer! Elmer's kind of a meme character. I mean, you can use him. I did use him in the mission that he's recruited, and that's it. I think he got like 1 chip damage kill, and I haven't found a way to use him since. The pre-promotes are really screwed because of their 4 movements. When they have only 4 movement, it just curses them into hell. It really does. Haley, when she joins, is OPAF. When she joins, she's actually like the 3rd highest person in the party. Sorry, 2nd highest person in the party when she joins. But then she just quickly falls off like most archers do. I could have used her in several missions. I know last playthrough I did put a holy bow on her. And ran through a lot of enemies during the Helheim mission, during the Chapter 19 mission. So I could have put her in there instead of Estelle, and then I wouldn't have had a liability unit. But where's the fun if you're going to play through and not have a liability unit? Haley's fun though. I just don't know why I haven't been using her as much this playthrough. Isabel. I mean, if you go ahead and force promote her when you first get her to bump her movement speed, cool. Otherwise, kind of meh. There's no actual force deploy chapter for her, so she's one of the few characters that you can actually play an entire game, recruit her, and have never fielded her once, which is sad because she gets 2 lead stars. So it's like you want to deploy her because of the 2 lead stars, but you're also like, I don't want to deploy you. So kind of an ipso facto kind of thing. Taya sucks. I'm just gonna be honest with you right now. Taya blows. There's just nothing special about her. I've tried. I really tried. I think I fed her 18 kills, but the moment that she gave Coulter the Peshkat's blade was the last moment that she got access to the field. I just benched her right then and there. No 1-2 range. Nothing special about her. I think I even gave her a pet rock at one point to try to bump her strength a little bit. Wish I would have kept that pet rock and just put it on Jaka. Runa, I got really lucky this playthrough and got the 1 strength point on her really early, but I haven't used her. I used her quite a bit in my last playthrough, just because of the hunt. I exploited the hunting bow and exploited a holy bow later on. Great resistance, so if you're playing magic heavy maps, I mean, she's actually decent to use. It's just one of those that she doesn't actually grow in strength, so until you actually get that C rank support with Varg, she's not very useful. House Darkholm, what's up, Darkholm? Rod is sitting right now at 101. He joins at 90, and he joins in kind of a weird spot. So he joins in the same chapter that Harriet joins, but you've got way better heroes base than Rod is. And it's like, yeah, I could spend time training Rod, but Rod's kind of like Garum, where both of them really benefit more from initiating damage versus taking damage. A lot of times in Fire Emblem, you're more beneficial to move and then intercept rather than move and advance. Rod is better as a move and advancer, so I don't like to use him as much. I did throw him in the prison mission only because of a special conversation where he gets a Draco shield, which I gave it to him. I don't know. Some of you are going to look at me like, why'd you give it to him? Because it was a conversation for him exclusive, so give it to that guy. Screw off. Kurt. Kurt gets a lead star. Kurt, last playthrough was very useful. This playthrough, not so much. Just fell off hard. I don't know why I'm not using him. I think it's just because I got better options. It's really what it is, I think. Next. We kind of already talked about Sigrid. Just nothing special. Super, super low in all of her in her total bases and HP. She's like a Sophia, but like, I guess good conversation. Aisha, I don't honestly know. It's kind of a mixed thing because she's basically Dart in this game. She's your pirate that you get. And so we get her in chapter 15. She grew 3 levels. Now, I don't know if this was just I got screwed by RNG, but she grew 3 levels and only gained... she grew 3 levels in that mission and only gained 5 points. All right, 3 levels and only gained 5 points. So, I mean, I don't know what the hell happened there. She has 110 growth in HP, so there is a chance for her to grow more than 1 hit point in a level. But she literally only grew HP. 3 of her points that she grew were hit points. So, man, it just... That's kind of her problem, is that her growth in resistance is dog shit. Her growth in magic is dog shit. Her growth in skill is pretty bad. Her growth in speed is aight. Her growth in luck is aight. Her growth in defense is aight. But it's really just so bad in all the most of her stats that it's basically, despite having a decent spread as far as total points growth, it's literally only going to hit most of the time on strength and HP. And if you don't get the HP and the strength, there's a pretty good chance that you're only going to get that 1 HP point. And it happened twice to me. So, yeah. Aisha pretty much benched her immediately just because, like I said, when she gained with nothing. And she didn't get jack diddly. And I mean, cool, you know, she gets that, but at the same time, it was just frustrating. I would love to see her get used more, but she just gets outclassed, outmatched, and I know that she would fall off super hard. Halfdan joins, is the most recent hero to join the party. He joins with 165. I have not leveled him up yet. He joins with 165 in total stats. mostly because of his HP being super high and his strength being super high, does provide a lead star. So it's like, why would you ever want to use Aisha? If you need another axe user, just use Halfdan, because guess what? Halfdan gives you a lead star. And sadly, Halfdan is not with the party by the time you go to challenge for the Jarlship. Otherwise, who knows? You may not even use Bjarki at that point. If you I'm just speaking out loud because Halfdan does give you a lead star, so it's like an extra bonus on top of an extra bonus. But yeah, really good unit. Didn't make much use of him in the last chapter because he joins in a chapter it's kind of funny because some heroes join in chapters that they're just designed to kick serious butt in, like Dawn, where she joins and then she slaughters like 7 people on her first turn. Whereas Halfdan, he joins in a magic heavy terror heavy map, and he joins after the convoy phase. So you have to like take an extra turn to like put a holy axe on him if you want to put a holy axe on him, but you're like, Bjarki already has it, so screw off. So it's like, And that's our units right now, man. I mean, there's a lot of cool units going on. As far as kills go, we have slaughtered 872 through those chapters. Jaka is first in kills. Baldman's still second because Baldman gets the amazing boost in chapter 5 where he takes 26 by himself, just because it's literally him and Ilanda, and Ilanda can't hit can't do damage to the majority of people on the map. But yeah, I'm curious to see where these next 10 chapters go, or the march to endgame goes. I know we've been talking for quite a long time. If you've enjoyed this, let me know. I like talking Fire Emblem stuff, and so this is Fire Emblem in my opinion. So yeah, dude, I'm liking the game. I've played it through. This is my second playthrough. Really, really, really fun. Jock is cool. A little frustrated at how bad his strength stat is right now. I've been kind of getting strength screwed, so hoping that can get rectified in the next map or two. His strength growth is only a 45, so there are chances for him to get strength screwed like he is right now. Just hoping that stops, because he's kind of getting the Aisha treatment almost. And that's kind of bad for like the main character, the guy who's running around with the I'm him pronouns. Anyway, yeah, we'll check in with you guys again once we get like 5 or 8 more chapters in, as we get marching toward endgame type scenarios, or maybe after endgame, I'm not even sure. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. As always, keep pimping the world.